Hey guys, today we're going to be looking at survival, men versus women. Make sure to hit like, subscribe, and comment below. Let's get into it.
Two uninhabited Pacific islands.
One will be inhabited by 14 British men, while a separate island will be home to 14 British women. Will it be brute power or mental strength that wins the day?
Fine.
One, two, three, go!
Get in there, boys! Woo!
Actually wrapping up a dinosaur.
We just caught a prehistoric animal.
A woman needs a man like a fish needs a bicycle. I think evidence begs to differ on that one. Sure, it's one thing to say that in a nice air-conditioned office, but I don't think I have ever heard a feminist point out the inconvenient truth that men almost exclusively work all the dangerous and important jobs that keep society running. I can survive without a New York Times journalist, but I don't think I can survive without indoor plumbing, electricity, or a roof. I find it curious, though, that feminists love to proclaim how independent they are from men on their computers and cell phones that were invented by man, which brings up the question of equality. That was a topic of discussion in the Jubilee MRA video I covered recently, and I avoided it so I could talk about it in this video. Are men and women equal? The answer to that is no. The reason for that is that men and women are two different things that you can't compare one-to-one on their actual value to society. Equal is the wrong word. The correct word is necessary. Food and water are not equal, but they are both necessary. Each serves its own role. The same is true for men and women. There are things that women are naturally better at, and there are things that men are naturally better at. When it comes to raising children, men are far better at setting boundaries. Women are better at emotional development. Taught to kids without fathers, they are often all over the place and can't contain their behaviors. Taught to kids without mothers, they are often emotionally dead. What we have seen with feminism, though, is an overpromotion of women, followed by a complete lack of respect for what men contribute. And well, I think this show is the perfect example of why feminists cannot survive in their fantasy world without men. For those of you who haven't heard, this is the wonderful experiment in gender equality called The Island with survival expert Bear Grylls. 14 average men versus 14 average women on 2 different Pacific islands for 6 weeks. Both groups had their clothes, 2 water canisters, and some other basic supplies like 3 machetes, 8 fishing hooks, and a first aid kit. They also had 2 days of survival training and were not supposed to do any other practice. So who will be the superior survival team?
Okay, so I'll tell you right now, the men will be the survival team. They have to be. There's no way that the women are going to survive on this island. I think every man knows that. But let's see how this goes. Now, he did actually say a statement before about I can't quote him directly, but something I do want stated at this point, just so that you're aware, is that the most extreme version of feminism, the most extreme belief behind feminism, this is not something that all feminists carry, but this is the most extreme version of it, is that it's basically a world where the women live in it, and the men are only there to basically use as a way for them to breed. So, like, to take the semen and IVF it into women, and then the women have babies, right? And that's the only reason. So it'd be basically like selective breeding with men. Now, that's the most extreme version of feminism, and there is actually, on top of that, an island that was actually built. A very rich woman had bought out, and she wanted to make such a fantasy kind of happen on that island where men were not allowed on the island. It was only a female island. That rule had to be broken pretty much day one because men had to actually build all the infrastructure on the island. Okay, so if they can't even find women to do the jobs that build out an island, there's no way they would be able to do it on a worldwide scale. Let's keep going with the video.
The men or the women? Obviously, both teams had it rough, but my experience watching the show was, yeah, men had it difficult, but they worked hard and pulled through. The women, however, was just a never-ending story of misery with one bad thing happening after another. They were clearly not able to survive without men, much to the anger of feminists who complained about this season. Let's get into the fun, but first, if you like the content you see on this channel, then consider making a donation. Viewer support is the best way to keep independent content creators independent from big tech, so your support is highly appreciated. Links to my PayPal, Patreon, and Subscribestar pages can all be found in the description. And also, don't forget to support me on Alt Tech. You can find the links to my Parler page and my
we're
BitChute
gonna
Find a
skip
Beach.
this. There we go. And just so you know, all the long form content from my channel is on my Patreon page. Okay, so if you go to my Patreon page, it's like $2. You get everything, as much of it, and there's a lot more minutes, a lot more hours on that than on the YouTube one, obviously. Anyway, let's keep going.
Up camp. It's a lot safer to be on a beach where you can see everything than it is to be in a forest full of snakes and crocodiles. Let's see how the men handle this challenge.
It's 4 p.m. With only 2 hours of daylight remaining, the men's priority has to be finding a safe place to shelter for the night. Paul thinks the group's best option is a beach.
I personally want to just plough on and make it. I mean, it's going to get darker in here quicker than it is on the beach.
Paul pushes on, despite the group's growing descent.
I found the sea. Ah. Ah.
So that was quick. A few hours of intense stress, everyone pushed through, and they all made it on the first day. As for the women, their story is a little bit more complicated and requires more than a single clip to discuss. Their first mistake was that they decided to split up.
So one group's going to go look, and one group's going to stay here.
Who's in the go group?
Me.
Can I come?
Yeah.
You got your whistles?
Yes, we're whistles.
I can tell that these women watched way too much Scooby-Doo when they were kids. You never want to split up when you are in a dangerous situation. Even Bear Grylls says it's a bad idea.
Splitting up your group is a high-risk strategy.
What did they teach them in the survival training that their first instinct was to split up when on an island together? They're not guarding anything. Like, why is a group of them staying at a beach and a group of them staying where they started and a group of them going to the beach? This doesn't make a whole lot of sense to me.
The show says they split up to protect a fire they made the previous night. By the way, we're on day 2, and the women only ended up walking a few hundred feet away from their drop points. Also, you can take the fire with you.
Yeah, and you can just make another fire, like anywhere.
Not to mention, you would either have to move the fire or make a new one anyway when you found a new camp. Did they think about this for more than 10 seconds? However, I will be fair and point out that some of the women said this was a stupid idea.
Hold on a minute. You think that you can walk right round this island?
We
in the
don't
water?
know anything.
I think this decision has been made a little too quickly.
But they split up anyway. On this first trip, they find a beach that isn't that great, and they come back. So that was all well and good, but now with that success, they are a little bit more confident about their bad decision, and they split up again. One of their previous dissenters, Jamie, joins them this time.
More desperate than ever to get out of the jungle, the women are sending out another search party to find a beach camp. 7 women volunteer to join Fee on the trek, including furniture maker Kate. Abby, Fran, and 3 others stay behind in their temporary camp to keep the vital fire alight.
If you watch the show, what you'll find with the women is a lot of feminist notions of independence. You have to understand that the independence we experience in the West is a luxury. Being by yourself in a survival situation or in any dangerous situation is stupid. There is power in numbers. The more people you have, the more people you have to fight and solve problems. You also have to understand that literally no one in civilization can survive on their own. There may be a couple of outliers, but outside of them, no one is capable of surviving on their own without using tools or knowledge that other people have invented or discovered. True independence is a myth.
Correct. Let's leave it at that for the people that are watching on YouTube, BitChute, and Rumble. If you'd like to watch the rest of the video and all of my other videos, please head over to my Patreon page. As I said, it's only $2 and you get all the rest of them. Make sure to like, subscribe, and comment below, and I'll see you all in the next one. For everyone that's watching on Patreon, let's keep going.